Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now Kell Brook says they are close with a Terence Crawford fight, and he believes that if he is able to dethrone probably the pound for pound number one, believed by many, then that will be an epic British victory up there with all of them. Now, whether you want to consider Terence Crawford as your number one pound for pound, that's up to you. In my opinion, it's Lomachenko, and Terence Crawford is actually third, probably. That's where I would put him after Canelo. So ultimately, I wouldn't say he's pound for pound number one because he's not even the best in his division. Errol Spence is, although I believe Terence Crawford can beat Errol Spence. But we need to see it in the ring. Errol Spence has the better resume at welterweight, the more titles at welterweight. So Terence Crawford is not number one in his division. And Lomachenko is. So you have to consider Lomachenko as pound for pound number one. So ultimately, Kell Brook versus Terence Crawford. Very close according to Kell Brook. Interestingly enough, Amir Khan has come out and said that Kell Brook is running from him and doesn't want the fight. Boy, am I fed up with hearing about this. I don't even want to see the fight. Don't care about Amir Khan versus Kell Brook anymore. I don't know if I would even turn on the television to watch it. I probably would, but it would be pay-per-view, and I'm not paying to see that because what's the point? Two fighters, well, mainly Amir Khan, who's past their best. I mean, Kell Brook, we don't know how much he has left just yet. Amir Khan, we've seen the best of him in his early 20s. That was when Amir Khan peaked. He peaked quite early, quite young for a boxer, but ultimately Amir Khan can still have big fights, but not with Kell Brook. That's had its day, it's come, it's gone, it never happened. Don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about Kell Brook and Terence Crawford. Now, Kell Brook was offered $1.5 million for this fight, an offer that Eddie Hearn and Kell Brook believed wasn't good enough, considering the current climate, considering this could be Kell Brook's last fight. So he wants a bigger payday, and they seem happy to deliver that to Kell Brook to make this fight happen. So this fight could happen. It has some legs on it, and I believe it's a good fight. I think that Kell Brook can exploit some weaknesses in Terence Crawford. Crawford definitely can in Kell Brook. But the one thing that Kell Brook must do in this fight is exploit the biggest weakness, in fact the only weakness, of Terence Crawford. And that one thing is, he often retreats with his hands not at home. So he goes back without his hands up, without his hands guarding him. And that is one thing that maybe Kell Brook can exploit by just rushing him. Not necessarily just rushing him, because it must be more educated than that, being in there with a top 3 pound for pound fighter, but still, there are things that Kell Brook can do to offset, to make Terence Crawford uncomfortable. So it's not a forgiven fight. It's not a fight where, like it was with Amir Khan. I mean, how much chance did you give Amir Khan in that fight? Not a lot, not against Terence Crawford. Kell Brook, probably I would give him a better chance than Amir Khan had. But Kell Brook has ultimately said that there are legs in this fight, that his offer he received of $1.5 million was not good enough. Eddie Hearn also said it wasn't good enough. But the interesting thing is that they want this fight, so they're going to improve the offer. So Kell Brook versus Terence Crawford seems a big possibility. But guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.